Question. Is that okay?
If I kill you, you kill me. Then
Is
the
that
world's
okay?
full of dead people.
So I said genocide. He's saying kill.
No.
You see the language that he's using.
Well,
Is genocide okay?
No genocide is okay.
The genocide taking place is okay.
Is that?
She justified it.
No.
Are you with her?
I'm asking. I don't know. I'm asking you a different question. I'm a Westerner. I don't fully understand what's
I
going
don't
on.
care if you're from Jupiter or Mars.
I don't. I'm asking
Genocide
you.
is genocide.
Did
Even if someone comes from Pluto, it's a genocide.
Did Assad in Syria commit genocide?
I don't care about Assad. I care about all of those people dying under their regimes, whether it's Israel, whether it's Assad, whether it's this, whether it's Xi Jinping, whoever it is.
Yeah.
Anyone dying, it's bad.
Yeah.
We're talking about the current genocide taking place.
in Syria.
Are you saying that it's considered self-defense when Israel's made its intentions clear? Our aim is not accuracy, rather it's destruction.
I would disagree with the tenants there.
Oh, you're back. Oh, now you have to get in the queue again. Sorry, get in the queue.
I can't compete with this lady.
No. You've got my.
I can't compete.
You've got my time now. She needs to get in the queue.
My take from
Yeah.
what I read in the Western press is Israel has pretty much given up bombing Gaza. It's laid back now because I think it's probably won. It's killed a lot of civilians. It's killed a lot of is it Hamas? They have that. I forget which it is.
Yeah.
They've killed a lot of people, but they've stopped bombing Israel. So Israel have stopped bombing unless they find these Hamas people. What happened was bad. Like what happened to Assad and the Syrians was bad. But it seems to be.
What's your name,
down.
by the way?
Andrew. What's
Nice
yours?
to meet you. My name's Zishan.
Zishan.
Nice to meet you, Andrew.
I'm honoured to meet you. What I'm more
Thank
worried
you.
about is what's happening in Sudan.
Yeah.
Sudan, millions of people are
Sudan,
going to die.
Syria, Kashmir.
Well, no, Sudan.
Palestine.
Sudan is a massive problem about to happen. They're going to die of starvation,
Yeah.
not just hunger.
Yeah.
Why aren't people talking about Sudan?
We're all talking about
it's tragic that maybe 10, 20, 30, 50,000 people died in Gaza. It's tragic that 500,000 people died in Sudan. But 1 million people might die of famine. 1 million Muslim people might die of famine in Sudan.
Yeah.
Why is nobody in the Arab world doing anything about this?
Well, what do you mean doing anything about it? Like covering it in the media or helping
no,
them?
sending
Or?
food.
Well, as far as I know, some people are, but
And yet 1 million people could die
it's
of starvation.
absolutely terrible.
Sudan is horrific.
Absolutely terrible, and I'm with you in that. We should campaign for any country that has its people being starved,
Yes.
have its people being ethnically cleansed, have their people, being collectively punished, whether they're in Palestine, whether they're in Kashmir, Sudan, all of these places. I think we should mention them all equally. However, the discussion that we were having over there, it was to do with the case of Palestine. So out of interest,
right.
yeah.
I mean,
So
Palestine is an issue.
that was the discussion that we started
it's an
with.
issue.
Yeah.
But
What do you know about it?
about the Palestinian issue, it's massive and it's complicated. And if you get 3 different ethnicities, you'll get 5 different peoples. And I think you'll get extremists, which will make it a lot worse. And I think there's a lot of civilians who wish it wasn't happening. I think there's probably civilians in Israel who wish it wasn't happening. The Prime Minister,
Netanyahu.
Yeah, he's very unpopular in Israel. And he could lose, he could be stopped being Prime Minister. That wouldn't be a terrible thing. And Hamas is pretty unpopular in Gaza, but people can't vote for anybody else because there's no democracy there.
Just out of interest,
Yeah.
do you know that Gaza has been under blockade?
Oh, yes.
Israel doesn't allow things like chocolates, wedding dresses, concrete,
What's interesting
basic
about,
things.
about Gaza?
Just one thing, so I've made my point.
I understand that.
Yeah.
For a long time it was part of Egypt. Before the 1960s.
Gaza.
Yeah, before the 1960s.
Gaza wasn't part of Egypt.
Before the 1967
It wasn't.
war.
It wasn't.
Yeah. If you look it on...
You're talking about Mount
Strip.
Sinai and the Golan Heights.
No,
And
that's Lebanon, Syria, and I'm talking about Southwest. Till the 1967
I'm talking about
war.
Gaza. The whole of Gaza, the Gaza Strip.
The Strip.
The Gaza Strip.
Yeah, since the 19...
You're showing me another video. That's a charity video. Make sure you donate, guys. She's right.
What's this?
You show me videos.
Gaza's coming out.
I've got some videos as well to show you. Are you ready to see videos that I'm going to show you?
Yeah, but
Of kids with arms and legs missing?
Excuse me.
Oh, you're not listening.
see.
You're not. Yeah, and how do you feel?
You don't
It's
wanna
okay,
see
is
this.
it?
You
It's
don't wanna
okay.
see this.
Because apparently they would
You don't wanna
genocide
see
you.
this.
That's the two-way. No, Gaza was actually part of Egypt till the 1967 war. Between
will you shut up?
1948 and
Are you
1967.
are you aware that Gaza, half of the population of Gaza is women and children?
Well,
It's
half
then-
of every population is women. Well,
Okay, give me another population where that's the case.
well, 50% are women, 50% are men.
Where?
Theoretically, in the world.
No.
Well, there's more women than men.
Yeah.
What, 51, 49?
No, but we're looking at worldwide. We're talking about the Gaza Strip that's number one blockaded.
What's that?
Number two, not only is it blockaded, but there's a concentration. It's densely
Oh,
populated.
it's terrible. It's terrible.
And on top of that, every now and then, Israel does a process called mowing the grass, in which they've made the point very clear: when the population reaches a certain age, they start bombing it. Then again, they have to raise kids again, and they're not of a. That's why the population
Why
is like
isn't
that.
Egypt doing something? Because it's on the Egyptian border. Why don't they have their
So
side
if
of
you
it?
attack me,
Yeah.
then the first question should be, why the hell are you attacking me? Not, oh, why isn't he jumping in? Let's talk about the two people involved in that interaction. So why the hell is the fourth biggest military on the planet throwing more bombs on Palestine than were thrown in Hiroshima and Nagasaki? Why is it that it's going to take 15 years for them to clear the rubble when Israel doesn't even allow concrete to enter? We're not even talking about the rebuilding process. Why is it that any human rights
Right, you're
organization...
asking a lot of questions. Hang on, I'm trying to hold them in the head.
No problem.
The
Let me make one more point.
the
Let me make one more
concrete-
point. Let me make one more point.
Yes, please do.
When you've got human rights organizations like Human Rights Watch, Amnesty International,
Yeah.
Francesca Albanese, you know, which she's the UN rapporteur, and she's
Okay,
very
right. Okay.
popular because she's a Italian human rights lawyer, legal
I accept
advisor,
that. I accept
and
that.
she said that it's a genocide. It's a genocide. It needs to be stopped, and there's definite foul play taking place. But what's interesting and concerning is when I'm telling you about Israel being the aggressor, you keep somehow deferring it to Egypt.
No, I've done that once.
Yeah,
I don't keep doing it. I've done it once.
You've done it a couple of times.
Have I?
Yeah,
Well,
you-
Egypt used to own Gaza.
But
you,
that
you
doesn't.
deny this,
but
but that's factually
But that
correct.
doesn't justify.
No, it doesn't. But why won't Egypt
I
take
don't
Gaza
understand.
back?
No, but why should they when it's the Palestinians' land?
No, it was always.
No, but I don't.
Okay,
I
we're
don't
having a
accept
long
that.
history.
That's what I
Originally-
mean.
Okay, originally it was all part of the Ottoman Empire till 1914.
Yeah.
We know this. The Ottomans lost the war in 1914. The Western powers then split it up. Gaza became part of Egypt at that point and was part of Egypt for a long time till the 1967 war. That's just a fact. I'm not making this up.
Right.
I think you probably know
So,
this.
no, but I'm just curious. I'm doing one and one together, so that makes it okay to wipe
No.
them out.
So for a long time, my understanding is that Gaza have been lobbing bombs
Oh,
at
just
Israel.
hold this, please.
Oh, certainly. Like my understanding for a long time, there's been low-level warfare between Gaza and Israel till 15 months ago.
No, I don't understand where this term warfare is coming from when you've got a group that's not internationally recognized. They're going underground. They don't have enough weapons. The odd weapon that gets smuggled in.
Yeah.
Then you've got Israel throwing as many bombs as Hiroshima and Nagasaki, and somehow it's a war.
So why?
Where's
do you,
that coming from?
Why do you think Israel are doing this?
I've just asked you a question.
Why do I think it's a war?
Why
because there are
is
two
it a
people.
war?
Because two people fighting each other. The IRA
So,
for the
if
English.
a bodybuilder starts kicking a 2-month-old in the face,
I've just answered your
it's
question.
a fight.
So-
Is it a fight?
Right, listen.
Is it a fight if a bodybuilder starts kicking a 2-month-old in the face?
I'll answer your question with a question.
No, can you
I'll
answer
the
it?
question.
Can you answer it with an answer
What's the
rather than a
war-
question?
What's the war between the IRA and Britain? A war.
Look,
you
can
have
you-
your small people.
Can you answer the question
fighting-
with an answer? It's a very simple question.
It's as much of a war as the
A
IRA was.
bodybuilder kicking a 2-month-old in the face, is that a fight?
I don't know. It depends.
It's bullying.
Okay,
He gets locked up. That's the same that should happen to Israel.
but you're not answering my
The
question.
The ICC, ICJ have put out arrest warrants from Netanyahu,
Oh, yes.
Yogav, Golant,
Probably
and all of
rightly
these
so.
guys.
Probably rightly
Do you
so.
think if he comes here, he should be arrested? All of them.
I've not thought about it, and I'll have to sit
But
down.
you've thought about the history. You've been sitting there reading the history books.
I know history.
But
I'm
all
an
of these
old
women
man.
and children will be battered.
That's-
You haven't thought about that.
Well, I grew up in the days of the
You need-
IRA, and the IRA
You need to
killed,
think from here and here as well.
The IRA killed a lot of English people. Was that a war? A tiny people bombing, killing people in this country and in Northern Ireland. I'm relating this and referencing.
Frankly, I'm more
bodybuilder.
interested in the conversation that we're having. We can talk about the IRA some other time.
But is that a
Let's
war?
talk about this. Let's talk about this.
Okay, this is as much of a war as the IRA was a war. That's the question.
No, but I've just shown you the disparity in the amount of
talking
weaponry.
semantics.
No,
we're
it's
trying
facts.
to define.
It's facts.
We're trying to define the word war. Is it a war if my next door neighbour and me fall out? If the whole street and the next street fall out?
Well, I
If
think
my
it's very important to define those things, don't you?
Well, I remember reading a message book about the War of the Roses in this country 600 years ago. Was
Look,
that
you're
a
doing
war?
a lot of whataboutery. Yeah, let's just stick with the questions that I'm asking
Okay,
you. Yeah. Now, if you've mentioned the war, don't you think it's important for us to define what war is?
Oh, yes.
I would argue yes. You're saying that's semantics.
Yes.
However, if we now move this forward and we have UN reports that suggest that Palestinians have tried to peacefully protest. In 2018, the UN have released a 250-page document in which they detail that the Palestinians were peacefully protesting. What did the Israelis do? Now, this was released in 2019, by the way. What did the Israelis do? The UN clearly says they intentionally targeted children. They intentionally targeted medics.
I don't know.
They intentionally targeted journalists. They intentionally targeted
So tell me, what's the aim
disabled
of the
people,
Gaza people?
journalists.
What do they want? Do they want to
The
annihilate
Gazan
Israel?
people don't want to be bombed into an oblivion. How about that?
Okay, do they want all of Israel?
They don't want to be genocided.
Yeah, but I'm asking you a
They
question.
don't want somebody to come and take their land. How about that?
Do they want the whole of Israel?
How about that? Let's stick with that. Do you think that's reasonable of the Palestinians to want not to be bombed and not to be colonized? Do you think that's reasonable?
I think it's reasonable for anybody not to want to be bombed or colonized.
Thank you.
Whether it's, as you say, the Sudan or Syria or Iran and
Well, that's the question now that we're having.
Iran and
Because
Iraq.
Israel is on a rampage and they want to wipe them out. Like
Okay.
that lady was saying, genocide is justified because if we don't do it, you will do it.
And I'm not sure about that. What does Gaza want?
You are sure about that. You disagree with that.
I
You
disagree
think that's
with that.
abhorrent. That's
Well, I don't
sickening.
think it's horrible. I think it's a bad way of thinking. Tell
Eh?
me, what
That justifying genocide because you could do it to us? I'm questioning your heart now.
No,
What
no,
did you
no.
say your name,
I
Charlie?
didn't say that. That's like getting your retribution first. I've got to punch you because you might punch me. That's stupid. We both know that. You're a
That's
clever
what
man.
that's what I'm saying.
You're a clever
I
man.
want you to
But the question I'm
separate
asking,
yourself from that.
the question I'm asking you, we know what Gazans don't want. They don't want to be bombed and colonised. What do they want?
Well, that's up to the Gazans to elect their own leader and for them to decide.
Why is there
I
no
don't think.
democracy in Gaza?
Why is democracy the only way to rule?
Because that's what the Gazan people think.
No, you said why is there no democracy? My response to you is my response to you is don't worry, just follow what I'm doing because
Oh, sorry.
yeah. No problem. Just focus on me. I will tell you what to do.
Right.
Because with the camera, sometimes what happens is it loses focus.
Oh, okay. I'll take my
As
hat off
long,
then.
as long as you're here, you're fine.
Okay.
So when it comes
Did
to
you have
democracy,
powder on my forehead like they do on the television?
no, you're good. You look very handsome. So
I'm 71, man. It's,
you're still
you
handsome.
look very handsome, but I'm not
Thank
gay.
you.
I'm older.
Neither am I.
I had a
Neither am
wife,
I.
so
No
but it's
homo.
very kind of you to say
No
so.
Yeah, so when you're saying why don't they want democracy? Firstly, we haven't interviewed the Gazans. We don't know if they want democracy or not. Number two, why is democracy the standard? Yeah, let them decide what they want and what they don't want. That's up to them. Whatever they decide.
How do you judge
But it doesn't mean that we
their
bomb
opinion?
that into them.
Oh, no. But how do you judge what the majority wants?
Well, sorry, what was your name again?
Andrew.
Andrew. The thing, Andrew, is that in order to let any community decide what they want, you have to first stop colonizing them, first bombing them, justifying it, Their people that are doing that, I'm talking about the Israelis, need to be held
I'm accepting that. I accept that. You
to
keep saying
account.
it and I accept
No, the
it.
reason why I'm saying that is because that's part of the response that I'm giving you.
But the two
It's-
things are not mutually exclusive. You can be at war and have an election.
How are you going to have an election when any building that you go to, there's a possibility of it being bombed to smithereens?
Yeah, I take your point. I take your point.
You see?
But do Hamas really speak for Gaza?
Not all of Gaza, no. Just like Netanyahu doesn't speak for all of Israel.
And I accept that. And he's in court.
The
He could
parties,
go to prison.
look, Andrew, the parties can change, the groups can change, but
Yeah.
we have to allow that to happen.
Yeah.
And standing here in the UK, the least that we can acknowledge and understand is when we see unconscionable violence, be it in Sudan, in Syria, in Kashmir, and wherever in Palestine that we're talking about, we have to be very clear and precise. We shouldn't beat around the bush and say, I don't know, and like Piers Morgan says, I'm in a moral quandary. However, when it comes to...
My heart bleeds for him. It's a horrible.
So when it comes to Ukraine and Russia, he's very clear, very blasé about his opinion. But when it comes to Palestine, I'm in a moral quandary. I don't understand what's going on. So that's what I'm saying.
Something that I find very refreshing. Number one, as an Englishman, I find it massively refreshing that you can stand here in front of all these people and police, outwardly say all these things and feel safe. If you'd done that under Assad Syria, or if you'd done that in other parts or under Iran under, I've forgotten his name, the Ayatollah, you would have had problems with the people there. I think it's fabulous you could speak your mind. But the question I would ask...
No, but just that's a very important point, but what's very interesting is a lot of people here, when they talk about certain things, they've been locked in Guantanamo, they speak against LGBT, they've lost their jobs, they speak against Zionism, legitimate criticism of Zionism. For example, Shulamit Aloni, who won the Israel 2000 prize, she actually said that anti-Semitism, what anti-Semitism? It's used to critique those people with legitimate case and issues against Zionist Israel. So you have a lot of people that...
with different opinions.
Well, that's what I'm saying.
I get this.
And there are certain people that will say certain points, even in this country, they will lose their job, they'll be locked up, they won't see freedom again. In this country as well.
I will take issue. I've heard some very, very extreme views in my time. I've heard the National Front speaking. I've heard...
you know about Catherine Dunn, right?
Remind me.
So Catherine Dunn was the woman that, was speaking against the Iraq war. You know Julian Assange, who again, leaked.
I know about Julian Assange,
but again,
I would take issue with some of those.
Yeah, we saw what happened to Jeremy Corbyn as well. Even today, he's being dragged through the media. We saw a lot of people.
He hasn't been locked up and he hasn't been shut up, and the police haven't arrested him.
Well, I would.
He can talk, but nobody wants to
Well, I
listen.
think it's debatable that when you're free, but you're not necessarily free. That even when you're walking around, you can't. You feel that
the police
it's as
aren't
good
going
as.
to lock you up. It's not like Assad Syria. You're not going to get locked up and put in a
Well,
prison.
each time you go to and fro from the borders of the UK, you've got Schedule 7, you've got Prevent. I'm sure you're aware of these.
I don't often leave England. I'm an old man. I'm too old.
Schedule 7 and Prevent, they've been disproportionately targeting mostly Muslims. Why?
How
Because
do they know
they've
who's Muslim?